Welcome to another episode of Cleaning Up the Profits, dishing the dirt on cleaning business success, where we talk with real cleaning business owners and industry experts about what it takes to make it in the competitive world of professional cleaning.
Welcome back to another episode of Cleaning Up the Profits, where we dish the dirt on what it takes to succeed in the cleaning world. I'm your host, Melissa Homer, Chief Cleaning Officer of Microfiber Wholesale. I'm a professional cleaning expert with over 20 years experience in the professional, residential, and commercial cleaning world, and I get the honor of interviewing our guests. Our guests are cleaning business owners that have taken time out of their busy schedule to share their hard-earned wisdom with you. We got cleaners from a diverse background, some new to the business, some at it for decades, but all with the commonality, which is they built their businesses from the ground up and learned the hard way the wisdom they're going to be sharing with you today. So I'm hoping we can all take a moment and appreciate that they're here. And without further ado, let's actually talk to our guest. Good morning, Angela.
Hi there. I'm super excited to be on your show today. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm thrilled to have you as well. And I will say, by the way, for everyone listening, today is a special treat. Angela is pretty much the gold star standard of what I want to see us doing in the professional cleaning world and to elevate our industry and get it taken more seriously. So I couldn't be more thrilled to have her on here today. She's basically what I want to be when I grow up. So I'm super excited to see what she's doing. And I want to make sure you get to meet her. And rather than me talking about and fangirling her, let me introduce herself so you understand why it's a big deal that she's here today. So Angela, can you tell them why you're awesome? Who are you? What do you do?
Thank you so much for your kind words. I really appreciate that. I have been in the cleaning industry now 32 years. And I started as a professional house cleaner back in 1991. And I was a cleaner first. And within a couple of months of starting my cleaning business, I ended up doing a lot of training. So I've been training now for the last 32 years. I was a professional house cleaner for 25 of those years, on site in people's homes, cleaning, hoarding, decluttering, all that kind of stuff. And ran a really, really large business in North and South Carolina. And we had a branch in Los Angeles, California as well. So since we've been doing the training, and I've been doing the training full-time for the last 6 years, we're now in 37 countries and 191 languages. So it's debatable, but I think we might be the largest training company in the world for cleaners, house cleaners, and maids. And we've got a YouTube channel. We've had 22 million downloads of our programs. So we've done really well. We've got about a 250,000 subscribers that come back regularly and interact with us. And so we've got a really robust network of cleaners, and our focus is to try to up-level the cleaning industry across the board. Because when I joined way back when, there was no standard in the industry. And it was frustrating for me because you go out to clean someone's house and they have a certain expectation of what they think you're going to do. And it's based on what happened to them last time with the last house cleaner. And that may or may not be anything close to what it is you were prepared to do at their home. So it's hopeful that we create a standard in the industry. So thank you for having me here.
You spoke to so many things that I have found through my own frustration and work in the industry as well is, despite your amazing efforts and how many people you have trained, by and large, the industry is still run at standard free, and it drives me bonkers. What is a deep clean for one company is the routine clean for the next company. Some houses, the house is cleaner when we enter than the other people when the other company leaves. It's maddening what we think is clean because it's qualitative. It is emotional. It's what we think is removing enough dirt and returning enough order and beauty to feel clean to this consumer versus that consumer, and trying to create a professional standard within that amorphous space. It ain't easy. I'm going to put it bluntly. And I love that you're trying to create that standardization so that hopefully we can educate the consumer to be able to speak the right language to get what they want out of their house cleaner. Because at the end of the day, people want to be happy. They're paying good money. They want to have, they don't want to yell at their cleaner. They don't want to be mean. They want a clean home. They want to pay a good price for it. And then, it's just a miscommunication. It's not, everyone's trying to take care of each other. We just have to teach each other to speak the right language. And I love that you're the one in the forefront trying to make that happen globally, which is just amazing. So obviously we know where the story ended. Here you are with your global cleaning empire. But let's take it back to the beginning of it. And so we can be a little more relatable to our listeners that are just starting out. Can you share how you got into house cleaning. Were you a neat freak? Was it just a good gig and you needed a job at the time? Like, how do we get in here?
Well, that's a really good question. I was a neat freak growing up, but not because I wanted to be. I'm one of 19 children, and my parents had a really busy household. And so it's just one mom, one dad, and then 19 of us kids, and we're all 1 year apart. And so what happened was, in order to maintain order in our home, my dad had inspections twice a day. And he literally took a clipboard and he would walk through the house with his clipboard and he would inspect the jobs. And so we had this rotating job chart where everybody had jobs that you had to do. And so like my job might be the kitchen, for example, and he would go through right before dinner time and he would inspect the kitchen, just like you would if you were inspecting another co-cleaner on a job. If it didn't pass inspection, I didn't get to eat. So if I was hungry, I learned really quickly that, oh, there are certain things that are going to appear on this checklist that I must do in order to pass inspection so that I then can eat dinner, right? And so then as the jobs rotated through the house, we learned to clean all the different rooms of the house. So I knew how to clean when I moved away from home, but I was never going to grow up to be a cleaning lady. That just wasn't my thing. And I was waiting tables at a restaurant. I was delivering newspapers and I was delivering Domino's pizza. And so that's how I was kind of supporting myself. And one of the waitresses at the restaurant that I worked for, she started a house cleaning company. And she said, we work at night. How would you like to work with me during the day cleaning houses? And I was like, well, I know how that works. I mean, I know how to do that, so sure. So I joined her for exactly one day. And in that one day, I watched her clean. And I'm sitting there like, wait a second, I don't think that's how you're supposed to clean. I mean, like everything that I kind of knew about cleaning, that ain't it. And she was like lifting up the rug and sweeping stuff under the rug. And I'm like, no, we're supposed to roll the rugs up and like sweep underneath it and mop and let the floor dry and then put the rugs back, right? That's how you do. And our ethics were really different, and not to judge or shame her, but I came away thinking this is not sustainable long term. If I do this at every house and I lift up the rug and I sweep junk underneath it, eventually somebody's going to find out and they'll fire us. This is not sustainable. We can't keep doing this. And so I left at the end of the day and I said, this is not the right fit for me. And I'm so sorry because I think you're amazing. I'll see you at the restaurant. Bye-bye. But when I left that day, I'd made $150. And this is back in 1991. I was like, whoa, $150. Like that's a lot of waiting tables for me to make those same kind of tips. So I think I'm going to start a house cleaning business of my own and then do it my way. And I had no idea what that looked like because I'd never been a business owner before. I'd only had jobs where I worked for other people. And so I was talking a big talk, but I did not know what that meant.
It's an interesting thing that there's a sort of a bizarre situation in most professions where once you excel at the end service of the company, we're going to take you away from that end service and make you in charge of running a business, which is a whole different skill set that has absolutely nothing to do with the thing that your business does, whether it's a baker or a house cleaner. It is lucky for all of us that you happen to also have great business chops and savvy built in there along with your particular side that your father built. So unfortunately for many a house cleaner, they find that cleaning chops doesn't come easy. So I love that, again, they have someone like you and myself, hopefully, as resources to help them along. My question to you would be, since you are new to learning how to run a business, can you share with some of the listeners a couple of rookie mistakes you remember from back in the day that you're like, oh, I can't believe I did that. You roll your eyes at your 20-year younger self. So the first things that, as you're trying to make it as a business.
So did you want me to go back 20 years to the rookie mistakes that I made or the rookie mistakes that I'm making today?
Because the truth that makes you feel better. I'm
yes, as we're
mistake-free now. So feel free to go.
As we're in business, I do want to say this for every person that's in business. There is no day when you arrive and you're like, ta-da! I have arrived. I now know it all. Okay, there's no such thing. There's no such thing as I know it all, right? I thought, I'm going to learn the few things there are about the business and then, I'll have it all figured out. That's not the way it is. I'm still learning things every single day after 32 years in the business. And so back to the rookie mistakes that I made, I didn't know what I didn't know. And so when you go to bid a job, for example, my first bidding of my jobs, I had no idea how to bid a job. I had never bid a job. But what I did know from my dad is that I carry a clipboard. And on my clipboard, there better be a checklist. And that's because that's what my dad did. How on earth will I inspect a job if I don't have a checklist? So I took a checklist, and then I didn't know what to say. So I followed along with my checklist. I'm like, okay, what we do at every house is we follow this checklist, right? And that became my sales pitch. But what I didn't know was, and I think a lot of the rookie mistakes that I made are the same rookie mistakes I see house cleaners making today. Okay, so there's a basic checklist, and my first inclination is I want to add more things to it. Because if I add more things to it, then the customer will think, oh, I'm getting more for my money, right? Without realizing that anything that I promise that's on my checklist, I have to deliver. And so instead of setting realistic expectations, in the beginning, I overset the expectations, and then I thought that will help me get jobs. So I added a bunch of extras to my checklist. Then I found myself, once I got hired for the job, scrambling in the time frame that I had to try to deliver everything that I promised. And I was good for my word. I was going to deliver it. But like you said earlier, where there's a disconnect between some people's deep clean and the maintenance clean, and it's not all the same. What I was doing is a lot of deep cleaning items on a maintenance clean. And so I was billing for maintenance clean, and I was delivering deep clean items. And so those were honest mistakes because I didn't know any better. I didn't know that there were different types of cleaning, and I was trying to fit them all into one basic package. So the mistakes that I made they're common mistakes. Anyone can make them. But, and I don't beat myself up over for having made those mistakes. But once you learn that that's not working, and I'm scrambling at every house to try to get done, and if I don't get done, I feel like I have to stay, and then it's not fair to the next customer. So the rookie mistakes that I made had to do with scheduling and not knowing how to bid the job properly, not knowing what price to bid the job, and things like that I think are still common to this day for new people getting involved in the cleaning business.
Absolutely. And, one of the things that you said that I think is so true is there's this temptation to overpromise, but by definition, we're humans. And if you're trying to deliver at that pace, you're either injuring yourself or making careless mistakes and safety's going out the window, and you end up delivering potentially a poorer product to either that customer or the next one that you're completely exhausted and toast for. When if you just promised a rational amount, you could have made both those clients genuinely very happy. They didn't need that extra 3 things you felt like you had to do to earn the business, but all you did was, ruin your own back for your own grandkids. There's a moment we have to say, I'd rather promise and nail it than promise here and barely get to here, which actually was technically higher, but the customer feels disappointed because you didn't finish it all, or you didn't do what you said you would, and you kind of set yourself up for failure. And particularly I see a lot of house cleaners, they'll leave themselves room to make more money down the road. Hey, I want to sell you a deep cleaning for springtime. I can't because I was delivering the moon and stars to you as part of a maintenance clean, rather than, hey, spring clean time, I'm going to give you an upcharge for these things that I've been breaking my back to stay late to do that I shouldn't have been doing in the maintenance clean in the first place. And so they're leaving money on the table too.
What happens with that, and I see this a lot still to this day, you have people that are like, I'm going to deliver all this stuff because then I'm going to be the house cleaner that they don't talk bad about when I get fired. But what happens is you become the only person that they want in their home. So then you go away on vacation or you have a family emergency and you try to replace yourself. And then people are like, no, I only want Angela. And you're like, whoa, wait a second. I've just made myself irreplaceable. And that's a huge problem in the industry, because if you can't create a scalable product, no one can replace you. And while you might think, well, I'm a solo operator, so that's super cool. That's not super cool at all, because that means you're never going to go on vacation. You're never going to get a break. And should you have a family emergency, you're going to tank your own business.
Yeah. And, and part of the joy of being an excellent house cleaner is eventually, especially as you age and grow, to be able to expand your wings and grow the business. Even if you're like, I'm a solo operator now, yeah, that's cute in your 20s and your 30s, but, come your 50s and your so on, you're going to probably not want to be pushing yourself 24/7 to retirement age. And you've got all these customers that love you, even if you're I'm a solo operator, cool. at a certain point, you're going to want some helper bees. You're going to want to start expanding things. You're going to want to start to, sunset yourself into retirement. And you can't do that if you've made an irreplaceable product that no one else but you can push themselves to do. And you're one shoulder injury away from not being able to do it yourself. So I applaud, again, someone else beating the drum that I've been whacking myself. So I love to hear it. Where do you remember as one of those first sort of like aha moments? You're like, I think I made it in this cleaning business gig. This is going like I some of those moments where you're like, oh, I think I'm getting the hang of this. Do you remember any first day you cleared a certain revenue milestone, or hiring some employees and getting some awards or anything like that you're like, oh, I'm getting here, right? My dreams.
Yes, thank you for asking that question. And it wasn't revenue to begin with, because I grew up with no money. And so as I started my cleaning business, money was not my goal. I did not know that I could invest and I could have multiple sources of income or any of those things at the time. So that wasn't my goal. My goal was just to survive. So if I was just surviving, then, yay, that was great. But one of the big triumphs for me that I noticed, like, hey, I might be onto something, was about 4 months into my business. I was fully staffed. I had like 6 people that were working for me. I was completely booked. And I was like, yes, I have arrived. I have this operational team. We have a lot of business coming in. I had no idea what I was doing. And I realized I'm onto something big. I was leaving every weekend and I was going to different cities now, and I was already training at 4 months in, because what we were doing was working really well. And people were like, what are you doing so fast? And I was like, well, if you live 500 miles away or further, I'll fly in and I'll tell you. So they would put me up at a hotel and I would fly in for the weekend, and I would do a whole weekend training on everything that I was learning as I went. And so for me, it was like, yes, there's something here, but I had no idea what to charge for that. I had no idea how to scale it. And I was just working nonstop. I'm working 5 days a week in the business, and on the weekends I'm working for other people's business, helping them grow. And I was like, yes, this is awesome, without realizing that that wasn't sustainable long term. And I still knew nothing about business. And so I was like scared, like I've arrived, kind of, sort of, and then I have no idea what I'm doing next. And so it was what I've learned since then to call snag success. So I had some success and then I hit a snag. I'm like, what happens now? And so then you have to back up a little bit and you have to say, okay, you now are managing 6 people and you have no idea how to manage 6 people. And so now you need to go to the community college and take a course on how to manage 6 people. I didn't have any hiring policies. And so how do you hire people? Am I paying them the right amount of money? And am I paying them the right amount of money in conjunction with the money that we're bringing in? Oh, wait, I need to stop and take some finance courses. And so there were some snags. So yes, I was successful and snags. And then I would learn a few things, and then I would hit another plateau where there were more snags. And then I would find new success based on the new information, and then I would hit another snag. And so if you fast forward 32 years, I still hit snags to this day. They're completely different than the ones I hit before, because my goal is, once I learn something, I can't unlearn it unless I ignore it. So I'm going to take the stuff that I learned, I'm going to implement it, I'm going to make my life better, and I'm going to streamline it and template it, and then I'm going to learn something else. But what I've come to expect, and this is probably the biggest triumph of my business, is at every one of those snags along the way, not be flustered like, oh, I hit a snag, my business is terrible, but to hit a snag and say, wait a second, I'm only at a snag because I just mastered a whole bunch of things. And now I'm at the end of my success limit here. And so there's another new success beyond the next doorway, but I have to get through that in order to grow again. And so when the snags would hit me, instead of being like, oh, this is terrible in my business, and I'd be like, whoa, here comes another learning curve, like brace for impact, because, this one might be a wild ride. And they were usually a wild ride because it was something I knew nothing about, So.
And I love that growth mentality, the way you describe that. And by the way, for anyone listening to this, that regardless whether you're in house cleaning or you're in any skill, being able to look at it as that level up mindset is so much what keeps people back. They go, oh, I want to be here. I want to be, the Olympian. And they miss, this, whatever little mark here. And they go, oh, I'm sucking at, this thing. And they give up here, when it's really, no, you succeeded beautifully at level 1. Now, level 2, level 3. There's like 32 levels between you and the Olympian, dude. You're not bad at it. You did awesome at level 1, but breathe, learn more, level 2. And if you take that mentality, you can break down any accomplishment into the reasonable steps to get there. But it's that mindset, it's that growth mindset, and that willingness to fail and learn again. Like it takes so much of what people give up. It is purely a function of them lacking that mindset. And I love that you have it and you're sharing it. And for anyone's like, oh, I'm never going to succeed in house cleaning. I see someone, teaching in hundreds of languages cross country. I'm done. There's the end game. I can't get there. It's like, well, no, you're at level 1, level up, and, I think about it in terms of my children's computer games. There's always those like a little, and you get through a level, there's those little reset stations where it's like you touch it, now you've made it that far, and if you fail, you reboot back to that spot, where it's kind of the little spot is safe, so you don't have to go all the way back to the beginning. Like you said, you've learned the skills. You don't go back to the beginning. Even if you mess up, you get to that point and you try again. But it's that resiliency that I think so many people lack these days, especially, forgive me, the young crew wants it all right now. You gotta be willing to have that level up mindset and be willing to, have some setbacks, have to hit the reset button and do it again. And everyone says, oh, I'm not here, I'm failing. It's like, no, you're at level 1. You're level 3. And I love that you're preaching that. So thank you. If you were giving advice to someone starting out new in the cleaning industry, obviously you've been at this 30-something years. Obviously, first piece of advice, if it's house cleaning, we're going to mention Savvy Cleaner. Go ahead, Google it. We're going to give links at the end. Step number 1, if you're in house cleaning, go to Savvy Cleaner. She's amazing. But beyond going to Savvy Cleaner, because I want to mention that first, what advice would you give to someone new starting out in the cleaning industry?
That is a great question, because there are so many different angles that I've got a piece of advice for. But if I had one piece of advice, and this is going to sound kind of counterintuitive, because I think what you're expecting me to say is about house cleaning. But what I want to share with you is this. There's only one version of you. And so if you are cleaning and you are a solo cleaner, you are your best cleaning tool. And so it doesn't matter what business you're in. It doesn't matter how advanced you are in the business. It doesn't matter if you're the business owner or you're the operator. What is important is this. You cannot help someone else unless you first help yourself, okay? So it's like when we get in the airplane and they say if the little mask drops, put your mask on first and then help the person next to you. If you don't put your mask on first, you cannot help the person next to you, okay? So it's the same in house cleaning. What we're saying is this. There are 3 things that no matter how much money you have in the business, you cannot outsource, okay? You will find ways to outsource everything in your business, except there are 3 things you cannot. You cannot outsource your nutrition. You can hire a personal chef to fix you great food, but you cannot outsource your nutrition. What you ingest, you're going to benefit from, and it's going to be the fuel that sustains your body while you're out cleaning for 5 or 10 or 12 hours a day, okay? So you are the only recipient of the nutrition that you eat. What you eat and how much of it you eat and the diet that you follow, and I say diet not as in losing weight, but as in maintaining your health, is entirely up to you. The second piece of advice along that same vein is exercise. And it's easy for house cleaners to say, well, I'm moving all day, I'm exercising all day. Well, you might be doing some movement all day, but there are still things like maybe your core is not fully exercised. And so if you are vacuuming vertical blinds, for example, you're going to be doing 20 or 30 squats during that process. You need to be able to do squats, and that's going to require extra workout. You need cardiovascular workout. You need either running or toning or lifting weights or other things. And so you have to exercise every day. Again, you can hire a personal trainer, you can buy a gym membership, but unless you show up and you do the workouts, it's not going to benefit anyone except you. And if you want to be in the business for 10, 20, 30 years, your physical body is your best cleaning tool, okay? And so if you are doing this movement hundreds of times a day or this movement with a vacuum, your shoulders are going to give out on there. You're going to get carpal tunnel syndrome. You're going to have all kinds of things, and it's going to be required that you have things like this. This is just a stretch band. This is not sponsored or anything. I just happen to have this on my desk. Why? Because even all these years into the business. I have one on my computer desk. I have one at the TV. I have one in my car. Whenever there's a few free minutes, use that to stretch your shoulders and to stretch your back and to stretch your arms, to give yourself the extra movement, because the first thing that happens when you go to therapy for a shoulder replacement or whatever, they're going to give you stretch bands and they're going to say you need to go ahead and do some rehab. You can do the rehab right now before all of your joints give out, okay? So your diet and your exercise. The last piece of advice that I would say to every house cleaner across the planet is the sleep that you get at night. You cannot outsource your sleep. It is one of those things that the decisions that you make, if you're really tired, they're going to be really bad decisions. Sorry, but you're going to make crappy decisions if you're tired, right? You're going to overpromise things that you cannot deliver. If you come home at the end of the day and you're just like, oh, I'm so exhausted, guess what? Don't make any big decisions because they're not going to be good. So you're depending on your mental clarity, the amount of sleep that you get, the physical exercise that you get, that is going to be the tool that will sustain your entire cleaning career. And that is the best piece of advice, even after 32 years in the business. This is the best piece of advice from day one all the way to day 32 years in, that I could give anyone, is you have to take care of yourself first.
Perfect advice. And you know what? And I know you're relating it mostly to people as like the people that are performing the clean within their business, but there's a lot of cleaning business owners that have stepped back and are not even performing the cleanings anymore. All those pieces of information are still 1,000% relevant, because you're now in charge of the livelihood of so many people and the condition of the home of so many people. If you're making those decisions on no sleep, junk food, and poor cardio health, you're responsible for so much more now. You need to be at ultimate clarity and ultimate, well-rested, cohesive, logical thought. And it's so easy to say, oh, well, I'm not cleaning anymore. It doesn't really matter what this vessel does anymore. Nice. The people forget also that sleep deprivation is cumulative. I think that was I learned that, I remember, with the birth of my first child and some of the mother classes. They're like, just by the way, if no one's explained this to you, sleep deprivation is cumulative. People forget this. They're like, oh, well, I got a good night's sleep last night, I should be fine. It's like, no, you've been having poor sleep the past 2 weeks. That one night is a nice little kind of catch you up, but you got weeks to go before your body's back to full clarity and full functionality. And it's huge to remind people, regardless of what they are doing within the business, whether they are the purely business side or they're performing as the cleaner themselves, that taking care of yourself and that mask on matters for everyone in the business, whether they're customer service, sales, management, or cleaning, because our ability to serve our customers right comes from a well cared for body and sound mind. So thank you. That is excellent advice, and I love it. I will also share with you a sort of I guess we'll call it a sad, happy amusement. My big draw to the cleaning industry was actually my own family history. My father's side of the family my great-grandmother was a domestic back in the day, pre-civil rights, where you could hire a house cleaner to work morning to dusk for no money and then do a laundry all night, and that life, God love her, she made it to 98, don't know how, mostly on, a Spitfire vinegar and hard work, and was actually the first person of color to own property in her community on those segregated house cleaner wages. I mean, they wouldn't sell to her back in the day. She had to go to one of the people she did laundry for and have them buy the house for her. That's how back in the day we're talking. But she used to brag that she functioned on 4 hours of sleep a night, because she cleaned houses all day, she did laundry at night, she crashed for 4 hours, she did it again. And, amazing woman, made it to 98, but I often think, what could she have accomplished, in the right era, but also being given the gift of sleep enough to actually think clearly about what she's doing. She was just in go mode for 90 plus years. I think there's something so important about what we're all doing to make the professional cleaning industry a respected trade, where we can survive off a single income of cleaning and not having to be doing 2, 3, 4 jobs, no sleep, go, 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 burn, 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 like you were describing in the beginning, where you're cleaning all weekend, training all weekend, and no time for yourself. I think one of the best things we can do for each other is start commanding enough wages that people can live a full life with sleep and health and exercise and one income that sustains them, so they're not doing the 24/7 gig and not being able to care for themselves. So I love that you're preaching that message. It's something that's important to me as well. I'm going to flip the tables now. We've talked about all the stuff for the newbies. Let's talk about for the seasoned veterans. The people who've been in the industry for, 8, 10 years plus. They're maybe burnt out. They haven't been listening to that part of the biz. They've been active for a while. They've decided, I can't get any farther than I'm getting. I'm frustrated. Everything I'm trying is not working. What would you tell the more seasoned person in this industry to get them back on the horse, to help them take a look at a new way of looking at the business, help them get them back on track?
I love this question, and it goes back to what we just said a minute ago about how are you taking care of yourself. And you really hit on a really important key a couple of minutes ago, where you were talking about new people and how they take care of themselves, and then people that have retired from the business as far as being the cleaner themselves and going into management. One of the things that we see, and I get hired by a lot of people that are in the 3 to 5 million range, where their business is actually really booming, and they have arrived at what they thought was success. Like, when I arrive into the millions, then I'll be successful. Then they get there and they're like, holy smack, this is not what I thought I was going to be experiencing when I'm here. So my first question to them is, tell me about your health. And they're like, oh my goodness, I'm not sleeping at night. I'm really stressed out. I've got high blood pressure. I'm on a whole bunch of meds. I'm super depressed. I'm flustered. I suffer from anxiety. I'm not getting along with, and then we go to the other area, which is, tell me about your relationships. And they're like, no one's talking to me. My kids have left off divorce or whatever. And they go through all these things that come back to, I wasn't taking care of myself, therefore I couldn't take care of the people around me, and everything kind of imploded, okay? So I want to interrupt us for just a second, and I want to remind everybody along the way that when you reach a certain plateau, when I arrive in the millions, that's great if you're a millionaire in the business, and lots of people are, but if you're a millionaire in the business, it's only going to make you more of who you already are, okay? You're going to have more money, but it's going to make you more of who you already are. So right now, start in little tiny micro bits. Become the person you want to be right now. And then when you have millions of dollars, you will be more of that person, okay? Millions of dollars is not going to make you happy. If we look at all the celebrities out there and you read the news and you read the social medias, there are a lot of people out there with a lot of money and they're making really stupid moves. They're not happy. Many of them are trying weird, crazy things to try to buy them back happiness, and they're right back to where they were before, okay? The money will not make you happy. It will reduce some stress for bill collectors, but it's not going to make you happy. Money itself does not buy you happiness. So now that we got that out of the way, I want to share with you the advice that I would give to someone being 8 years in the business. What I want to say is this: if I have one pillar of success and I build a foundation on top of it, forever it will be teetering, okay? That's our foundation. But if you go through and you build several foundations, then what you can do is you can build something on it and you build your business from there, okay? So if one of these pillars dumps out, you still have many other pillars that are supporting the foundation of your business, okay? Each of these pillars are areas of wellness. So we just talked about our physical health, but let's talk about our relationship health. And that's our relationships with our spouses or our girlfriend, boyfriend, partners, whomever that is. It could be relationships with our children. It could be relationships with our parents, our siblings. Then we talk about our social world, and these are our friends and our neighbors, and do we have a social life, and do we go out and hang out with other people, and is the world beyond just our own little self-serving person? Because as a house cleaner, you can get in your own head really fast, where you go to people's houses all day and you clean, and then like you don't have any outside friends, and you don't have any close friends, and you're not socializing, and your world is very small, right? So relationship wellness and social wellness are those pillars. And then there's got to be a spiritual wellness, and there has to be a financial wellness, and there has to be an educational wellness. And as you break down all the different areas of wellness, and I came up with 12, and I came up with 12 for the simple fact I'm a simple person, but there are 12 months out of the year. So every January, I focus on financial wellness, and I go through all the books. And I do that because we have to pay all of our employees and our contractors their 1099s and W-2s. So I'm going through that stuff anyway, so it's kind of an organic move. But then I start looking at all the different bills, saying, do I really need this much insurance, or do I need to get more insurance? Let's look at that bill. Can I restructure that differently? Let me look at my internet service. Am I paying too much, or do I have enough internet service, or do I need more, right? I might spend more money. I might cut back. I looked at one of my bills, and I was paying for a gym membership that I was never using. So why am I still paying for that? And you cut that back. So every year at the same time for a whole entire month, I just focus on my financial wellness. Then the next month is Valentine's Day. Oh, that's a great time because guess what? We're focused on our relationship wellness. So that's a great time. It's kind of an organic move where we start saying, what about my relationships? Am I spending quality time when my husband is home? Am I spending quality one-on-one time looking at him? Or is he talking to me while I'm at the computer doing business stuff? And I'm like, yeah, and I never even make eye contact. Is that happening? When I'm sitting there having dinner with him, am I on my smartphone and I'm screwing around doing my own thing? Or am I paying attention to the person that loves me most, right? So if you'll focus for 1 month out of the year on each of those pillars, you can maintain them throughout the year. But if during the year one of those crumbles, all the other areas are going to be really strong and it won't take down the whole business. And so if you're 8 years in and everything is crumbling around you and you've arrived at what you thought was happiness, where you're making $5 million in your cleaning business, and then like you have high blood pressure and you're in and out of the hospital and you don't think you're going to make it another year because of your health, you've let a lot of those pillars collapse. And so the focus is this. If you're 8 or 10 or 15 or 20 years in the business, my focus for you is this. Can you isolate each of those pillars so that they don't take down the other pillars should they fall? If you go through a divorce, for example, that's going to rip out that whole relationship wellness, okay? And I promise you, bad things will happen. But if your nutritional wellness is intact, it's not going to take down your health. You're still going to sleep at night. If you're social and you have friends, it's not going to take down that pillar. If you've agreed in advance what it looks like should you part ways, you've already split your business in a period of time where you were in love and you weren't vindictive with each other and you weren't like trying to, get the other person and take them out. So what happens is your finances, your health, your emotional wellness, your spiritual wellness, your social wellness, all that stuff stays intact. And you pull out this one pillar and you fix it and repair it and then slide it back in. Right? So the whole object is a total balance. And that's, I think, and I might be wrong, but I think that's what most people want when they start a small business, is that instead of having a really unbalanced life and living it all for someone else, that they can start focusing on the different areas of their own life so that they have something to give back to the people that they love.
Oh, again, every one of these answers, I hope people are watching this and listening because, by God, your advice is amazingly applicable to house clean, but there's so many small business owners doing entirely different sources of revenue than we're involved in that need to hear exactly what you just said. So much so, especially that the line of, money makes you more of who you are today. Oh my gosh, that just needs to be a bumper sticker somewhere because it's so stinking true. Everyone keeps waiting for when I have enough money, I will then suddenly care for myself and pay attention to the kids and take time for whatever. And they get there and they're just more of what they were already. It's so absolutely, absolutely true. And it's something that no one wants to face until they get there. And it's so important to recognize now, make yourself into who you want to be when you get there because you'll become more of that. I love that messaging. I also love the way you're breaking it down. I think one of the biggest pitfalls people fall into, both in house cleaning and outside of our industry, is they try to do all of it at once. Okay, I'm going to reset. I'm going to, be the best me. So I'm going to take on my finances, my health, and my, my relationship or whatever. And then, and they're trying to fix all of it this month. Here we go. And they're trying to address all of them every month in this same intensity. And that doesn't work. They burn out. They got life to deal with, and it all falls apart. Your discipline around, I'm going to make January my financial month. I'm going to make February my relationship month. I'm going to make and working that out, I think is a really attainable chunk. Whereas I can do anything for 30 days. I can focus on my finances for this month and think about it. It feels grabbable and doable and bite-sized chunks that are sustainable. And I love that mentality, and please everybody take that on, because I know that's one of the pieces of advice I'm taking in my own pocket for this interview. So thank you.
Well, the reason that works is because every year you go back to that same area of wellness for another whole month. So you're not starting from scratch when you come back again a year later. So this year you're just jumping into QuickBooks and you're not setting everything up for the first time. It's already there. Everything's already tagged. What you're doing now is you're going to a different version of that. So maybe the first year in your business, you set up the QuickBooks and you're like, how does that all work? Then the next year you go back and you say, okay, how does the taxes and the deductions work along with my QuickBooks? Then the next year when you come back into financial wellness, now you're saying, wait a second, how do we get from here earning X amount of dollars to earning more dollars? And how do we scale that in a templated sort of way? Then the next year when you come back, you say, okay, now that we have money coming in and we've scaled the business and all the finances are flowing and we figured out how all that works, how do we start investments in other businesses that will pay us off long term? So every year you're learning new things about that particular area. So instead of trying to learn everything all at once, you're learning as much as you can for 30 days, and then you have a whole year to practice that. So yes, it's running in the background of your business, but when you come back next year, you're not starting over again, you're picking up where you left off. And so now it's another 30-day focus that kind of advances you and your business. So it's almost like by default, you will succeed if you just follow the program, and it's pretty simple. And, there's no judgments. There's no right or wrong way to do it. It's just that for 30 days, you're going to listen to all the podcasts and you're going to, read the books, and you're going to maybe use ChatGPT and have it, answer some questions for you, whatever it is, so that you advance from point A to point B, because nothing is stagnant, right? You're either going forward or you're going backward. And so if January comes every year without thinking about it, we're like, yay, we're in a financial wellness month again. What will I learn this year? So it makes it easy because the years keep resetting themselves.
I love that. And again, it's that level up mentality that, you were talking about earlier. Beautiful ties right back in. And I think, there's so many resources out there. Like you mentioned, between YouTube and podcasts and ChatGPT, whatever, and Lord knows the industry will keep providing us more. It can feel extremely overwhelming when you're like, oh, I'm going to improve myself. What should I be watching? All of them and all the things. And, I'm going to work the relationship stuff and the health stuff and the financial stuff and the marketing stuff. And, I need time to actually run my business and spend time with my family and do the things I'm supposed to be doing. By, again, breaking that up, I think it allows you to say, okay, I'm going to dive into some of these financial podcasts this month and see what it gets me. I'm going to dive into some of these marketing podcasts this month and see what that gets me. And it gives you direction so it doesn't feel so amorphous and unable to, you're not just grasping at straws randomly. So I, again, love it. You mentioned earlier, you talked about how eventually you're going to figure out how to outsource everything, but you can't outsource you. You got to take care of yourself. But let's talk about that outsourcing piece, because it sounds pretty tasty to a lot of people probably right now that are pulling their hair out. So let's talk about artful outsourcing. I'm sure as you've built this empire, you've had to figure out how to get your fingers out of every single cookie jar that you had them in strategically. How did you make the decision for you? What stuff you wanted to outsource? What stuff you enjoyed doing? What have you found has been worked out for you? Because for everyone, it's different. I find that whatever clean business owner I talk to, some are like, I was too emotional. I couldn't handle the employee management piece, so I got an employee manager. I knew that was the right choice for me. Others were like, the employee management is where I shine and I succeed. I can't stand the marketing piece, so I got a company that did that. How did you decide, and when did you decide to start, pulling your fingers out of those holes in the dam and let other people help you?
One of the things that's really important for me, and I love the question, one of the things that's really important for me is to realize that I can't hire someone else unless I know what it is I'm asking for. And I'll go back to the house cleaning industry for a second. When I was in the house cleaning industry, one of the things that I would ask every house person that I went to, I would ask them this question: how will you know when your house is clean? And when they gave me the answers, like, here's how I will know, then I would give myself permission to say, okay, I will agree with that. I will go along with that. And now I will know that their house is clean when we get to this point. That way, this is what they're expecting. That's what I'm expecting. We're now in alignment. And so one of the things that I've paid really close attention to is if I'm outsourcing something, I want to come to the same agreements with myself. So how will I know when I get the job that I've outsourced? And so I can't outsource a job unless I know what that looks like. So I'm one of these people, and this is going to go against what a lot of people say, where they're like, if you're not good at it, don't do it. I want you to get good at it enough that you know the right questions to ask. You know the person that you're going to hire or outsource it to. You know about how much the job is worth, because you don't want to be taken for a ride. For example, let's just throw out SEO. Someone says, oh yes, I'm an SEO specialist. I'm not. So let me just go ahead and hire you for a couple of grand a month and let's see what you can do. Well, the answer is, what does that look like and what are they going to do for you? And if you don't know what it looks like and you don't know what they're actually doing for you, how do you know that you're actually getting what you're paying for? And so my argument has always been, learn enough that you know what the job is, you know what questions to ask, you know when you're looking at a specialist from an amateur, you know what the job is worth, and you know what it looks like when it's finished. When you get to that moment and you're like, yes, I now understand. Okay, great. Don't stay in it any longer if that's not your thing. Put together a package. Here's exactly what I need and I need it for. And then be specific. I need this for my blogs. I need header ones. I need header twos. I need descriptions that match the header ones, header twos, and my keywords. I need to make sure that everything is done all the way down the side of the page, all the way up to the other side of the page. And when we hit the Yoast happy button, that all turns green from red light to green light, I'm good to go. That's what I'm paying for. Here's how much I'm paying for it. I need it done by next Tuesday. And then you put a deadline on it, because most people don't work well outsourced without a deadline. And so for me, all of my deadlines, all of my projects time out every Sunday at 6 p.m. So any contractor that I work with, and I work with lots of them, we're in the gig economy, I work with lots of contractors. Every project deadlines Sunday at 6 p.m. All of your projects and all of your progress reports, and the progress report is their little checklist. It goes back to house cleaning, where we leave them a checklist at the end. Give me a little checklist of everything that you did Sunday by 6 p.m. If it's not turned in Sunday at 6 p.m., nothing bad happens to you, but you do not get paid, okay? And so what happens then is we've trained all of our contractors to keep a list of everything that they've done. Here's what Angela asked for. Here's what we did. We earned the money. Turn it in by 6 p.m. Everyone gets paid. No questions asked. Boom. And we're done. And so my suggestion is, if you want to outsource, I go in 15-minute segments. So throughout the course of my day, we do this for a lot of house cleaners that are trying to transition from cleaning into being an admin for their business, but they want to outsource some of those things. 15 minutes. What are you doing right now in this 15-minute window? Are you the best person for it? And if you're not the best person for it, how quickly can you outsource this task? And so I have a lot of people, and this is going to sound crazy, but thanks to Fiverr, there are a lot of people on my team that do one task. That's it. That's all they do, one task. So there are people that, and I kid you not, they make $10 from me per day. That's it. $10 a day. There are people that make $12 a week. It's not a big job. They do one task for me. That's the thing that they're good at. I give them that one task. We're done. They turn it in by the end of the week. I've written paychecks for as little as $12 a week. There are people that make $800 a week, okay? So there are people at all different levels that do different kinds of tasks. But when they turn their project in, I'm going to take a look at it and say, I know that this project is exactly what I asked for. This meets the criteria. Yes, they get paid. And I sign off on it. I say, yes, this person gets paid. They did a great job. I write them a little note. Thank you for your business. This was awesome. Keep doing it again. I hope you come back again next week. And so outsource it the minute that you know you're not the right person for it, and you can articulate what it is you need done and what it will look like when the project is finished.
I love it. I love it. I love it. A beautiful way to describe that. And I think just adding a small layer on it, I think you said it all perfectly. But I think recognizing that the second you realize that you understand it, stop doing it if it's not something that's your niche, if that's your skill that brings you joy. Because I think there's this pressure, especially when you're new in house cleaning, to go, oh, well, I can't outsource stuff. I'm being thrifty. My time doesn't, have any value. If I'm doing it all myself, all hours of the day and night, rather than recognizing that you are the biggest asset in your business, and you could be doing so much more high payback activity if you just let go of some of this foolishness. Like the big example I used to give with my previous world in residential cleaning with MaidPro was they're like, oh, I'm new. I can, my business is just starting out. I'll just do the laundry and stuff, all the bags and get everything ready myself. It's like, dude, how many hours of calling customers and sales follow-ups and second string sales to the community and recruiting of employees are you missing out on while you're sitting there stuffing towels in a bag? What are you doing? Any new employee you've got can be trained to do this task within minutes. They're happy for the extra hours, and so they're joyful for the work that's being supplemented because you're building your business, you don't have full hours yet, and you're joyful for the time back to go do the things that actually build your business. But there's this instinct of like, oh, well, I'm being thrifty by doing it on myself all night. It's like, no, you're actually saving pennies to give back dollars. It's that mentality where it's so easy to get cheap rather than financially savvy. The savvy cleaners, got to plug your name again because, again, you guys are amazing. There's a difference between being cheap and being savvy. There's a difference between recognizing I could keep doing this, but I'm actually costing my business money every minute I'm doing it when I'm not doing the thing I excel at. And there's other people I could pay a very rational amount to just go do that thing, especially once, like you said, you understand it well enough to give them, here's what I want it done by, here's what that success looks like. I know enough what I'm looking at to know it's been done right. Do it, and now I can put my energy on the stuff that I know you can't do for me. I think it's such an important point. And so I think the criteria you gave is perfect, because I think some people look for like revenue thresholds. Oh, when I get 200 customers or 300 customers, then I'm allowed to outsource X. It's like, no. Once you understand it well enough to outsource it, you're now allowed at that very moment to let it go, no matter how little you are, if it's standing in the way of you growing your business. What's something you wish consumers understood about housekeeping? For whether we're going to have a lot of people in the cleaning industry listening to this, but we are going to have some of our end consumers as well. I'm curious, if you finally had the ears of everyone that hires house cleaners, what would you tell them?
Well, I love the question because I do have the ears of everybody who hires house cleaners. And when we started our YouTube channel, I thought that it was really only going to be house cleaners that would tune into the channel. But all the customers started turning in as well, going, oh my goodness, can I ask my house cleaner those questions? I'm like, yes, please. And so now every day, we get about 1,600 emails that come in every single day to the office. And they're from everybody from cleaning business owners to the employees of cleaning businesses to the customers that are like, is this allowed? Can my cleaning person do this? Like the other ones didn't, but this person is, can they get by with that? And I hear all kinds of things. And so was your question my advice to them, or what would I like them to know?
What do you wish they understood about house cleaning that they're not getting, that's keeping them from enjoying this relationship and hiring right and getting the most out of using house cleaning?
So what I would like to say is going to be really unpopular to house cleaners. The house cleaners are going to go, why did you say that? What I would like to say, and the advice I would like to give to homeowners that are hiring house cleaners, is please understand that when you are silent and you don't say anything because you don't like confrontation, that does not help us be better. You fire us and you don't tell us anything and we don't know why. You don't give us directives like, hey, if this was just this way, then I would be happy. In my business, and we've learned to look at this, no house cleaners like constructive criticism, okay? We put our heart and our soul into cleaning someone's house, and it meets our standard of excellence, and we're like, yay, it looks amazing. And then the customer comes home, and then if they do give us feedback, then we feel crushed, and we feel saddened, and we feel like they didn't like my work, therefore, and we say to ourselves, therefore, I didn't do a very good job, and I'm not worthy of their business. And so what that does is that puts us on the defensive as house cleaners, and we want to be like all defensive, like, oh, well, you don't deserve my service, and we get all high and mighty and flustered because the customer actually gave us feedback. And what I want to do is I want to encourage the homeowners to understand there is no standard in the industry yet. When you hire a house cleaner, when you say, well, my last house cleaner did this, that, and the other, that's not helpful, because you're trying to hire someone new right now. What your last house cleaner did has to do with you and your last house cleaner, okay? It didn't work. That's why you're hiring me. That's why I'm here at your house right now. What y'all had did not work, okay? So start over again, erase the slate, start over again, and tell me, what does your house look like when the job is done correctly? Let's set new standards, new boundaries, new expectations, and let's start a brand new relationship with you and me. I'm not the old person that you had at a cheaper price or that did the sun, the stars, and the moon. I'm a new person with a new price and a new checklist. So let's start over again from scratch, and please share with me what your priorities are and how I can best serve you. And if for any reason I'm not in alignment with what you're expecting, please correct me. Please make it okay to give me feedback and give me ideas on how I can make my time with you better. I'm here to serve. But if I don't get any feedback and you're just silent, or it's passive-aggressive behavior, or it's like apathy or whatever, that doesn't help me, okay? So in my business, we have what's called the mystery shopper. And I look at every negative or demanding customer as a $5,000 mystery shopper that I hired to come in and to tell me where in my business we fell through the cracks. So when I get one of those customers that's like, let me tell you how it goes. I'm like, oh, wow, we just got some feedback. Check this out. They might be totally crazy, okay? They might be crazy, but what if they're not? What if they actually have some valid feedback that we can take and we can implement? We would pay $5,000 for that advice. And here's the cool part. Don't tell anyone. But instead of paying them $5,000, we're not going to pay them anything. And they're going to pay us for the opportunity to be our mystery shopper. Whoa, that's so cool. All right, so don't tell anybody this, okay? Because this demanding customer is actually my mystery shopper. And I'm going to take the information and I'm going to see if it makes sense. And if it makes sense, I'm going to make those changes so that I can make them happy. Because as soon as I make them happy, here's the sad part. They're going to be okay. And they're going to stop fussing at me. And my mystery shopper will go away. And then I got to go find me a new mystery shopper. But the cool part is it didn't cost me $5,000. Okay? So welcome that person that comes in. And I welcome the feedback. Because a lot of people just don't like confrontation. And so they'll just be really dissatisfied, or they're expecting you to be like the last house cleaner, and they didn't tell you what they wanted. And so then they're just disappointed, and then finally they just cancel on you a whole bunch of times, and then they fire you, and you go away. I thought they liked me. Like, what just happened? That's not helpful. So what I want homeowners to know is please speak up. You're paying for a service that you deserve. And when you're done, you should be pleased, so pleased that you turn around and you tell your neighbors, oh my goodness, you're not going to believe Angela and her company. They came and they delivered on their promises. They did an amazing job at my house, and it looks so nice. I want to have a party at my house so you can come see it. You should hire her as well. I want them to be so happy that that's what they say. And if they're not that happy, don't tell all your neighbors yet. Come tell me, and I'll make it right so that you can have the party and you can invite all your friends over, right? But that's what I want them to know. It's okay to give feedback in a way that gets you the service that you're expecting.
Absolutely. And God, again, perfect advice. What I would add, what I suggested for my previous work and trying to help people get through that, because a lot of house cleaners are, like you said, are reticent to ask for that feedback. They take it all to heart. They take it all personal. Is introduce yourself to your customer as your new private chef. You're hiring a private chef. Cleaning is personal taste. If I am an amazing 5-star chef and I cook the same dish, this customer is going to say it's too spicy. This one's going to say it's too mild. This one's going to say it's the best meal of their life. Same dish. Did I suddenly become a bad cook? No. It was not cooked to their personal taste. I now need to learn your personal taste and how you want us to care for your home. It's going to take us a good 2 to 3 cleans to get to know each other and for me to learn how spicy you like your food. I'm going to start by doing the clean that I'm giving to you of this checklist that I would traditionally do and the methods I would traditionally do. And I want you to look around and say, what did you love? And what would you prefer different next time? It's not a judgment on me. It's not you did a bad job here. I don't like what you did here because it's bad. It's not to my personal taste. And once you take the bad and good job and bad job out of the equation, everyone's able to have a much more rational conversation. It's a, hey, I'm gonna check in with you at the end of each of these 3 cleans, and we're gonna learn each other. I'm gonna ask you, what'd you love? What do you want done different next time? What would you like changed to your taste? And I'm gonna give you that language so you don't feel awkward saying it to me. Because consumers, like you said, are everyone hates confrontation, and forgive me in speaking stereotypes, but women in particular tend to be the people that hire house cleaning as an industry where you tend to be trained, and that's our job to outsource. And we're trained as a society to not be confrontational, and women aren't supposed to be confrontational. And so there's a whole stigma and thing going into, I can't yell at the house cleaner. She's, baby here, and she's the nice to the kids, and she's been here for years. I can't talk to her. And what? No. We're allowed to share personal taste. This is your private chef. And I think giving people giving them that language from this jump, when you start the process, when you quote them, when you're getting them oriented to your service before your first clean, saying, here's the language, I'm going to hand it to you so you don't feel uncomfortable giving it back to me, then everyone can kind of do the dance, because they're like, oh, she said she wanted my personal taste. She said there was going to be things I wanted different. And then I use that language, and I don't get yelled at. I don't get defensive. It's not, well, I was in there for 6 hours and your house was full of cat hair. And, because as soon as you do that, they shut down. They're not giving any more feedback, and they're off finding another cleaner. If you give them the language of, so what did you love about the clean? Oh, I thought the bed looked amazing, and I can't believe what you did with the floors. Tell me, what would you like me to change to your personal taste for next time? I'm giving you that language so it doesn't feel like they're getting you in trouble. Well, honestly, I kind of, noticed there were some hairs in the bathroom floor, and I'm really skeeved out by hairs. Perfect. That's exactly the sort of details we need. I'm going to put in your work order right now that we need to pay careful attention to hairs in the floor, because that's a hot spot for you. I've made it comfortable to give that feedback. It's not a confrontation, and it's just give people the language. But helping people understand that they need to do that, yes, because there's so many people that waste so much energy. They go hire this house cleaner. They go through all this bidding process. They found somebody. The person learns their home and their kids' names and the dog's name. And 5 cleans in, they're like, oh, it's still working. And then they're going to do that rework all over again, rather than have an authentic conversation for 15 freaking minutes where they told them the 3 things that aren't getting done right. Let them learn it. They're totally capable of doing it. You just wouldn't tell them. And now you're starting over from scratch again. So it's like not helpful for us. Like you're saying, it's not helpful for us if you don't tell us. It's not helpful for them. They are wasting their own stinking time every time, rather than just being honest and having that meaningful conversation for 15 minutes of, what is your personal taste? How would you like this modified? And let us do it. So yes, you hit my hotspot too. Yes, clearly. All right, so I got last 2 questions, then we'll wrap it up here. I gotta ask everybody on the show, what's your favorite cleaning hack, cleaning product, trick of the trade, some fun cleaning thing you know how to do for either our end consumers or professional cleaners? Something like, oh, I love this product, I love using this on this surface. One of those, I love this cleaning hacks.
I don't like the word hack at all. The word hack seems to me like a shortcut, and I sadly I don't think there are actually.
And they say, well, we'll take the word hack out of it, because I agree. We've gotten into this hack industry where everyone's like, oh, clean your whole house with Tide Pods and toothpaste, and it's a hack. And it's like, no, it's just bad science. I guess it's more the cool thing where you're like, oh, this worked really well, and it cleaned it right, and I feel really good about this tool or this product that I love working with.
Okay, now that we've restructured that, and the reason I don't like the word hack is it seems like shortcuts. And when you go inside a customer's house, and I want to be really keen on this, because the best hack or the best trick or the best shortcut or the best tool that you will ever use is observation. I call it situational awareness. So when I go inside a customer's home, the customer knows what they're expecting, and I also know what I'm capable of doing. And so when I go into a customer's house, sometimes there's a disconnect between what I want for the customer and what the customer is paying me for. They might be paying me for a basic clean, but when I walk in, I see a deep clean. I'm like, this needs so much more than what you're paying me. So the biggest trick or hack or suggestion or tip that I can give you is, when you go into a customer's house, be keenly aware of the time that you have, The tools that you have at your disposal, did you bring your deep cleaning tools with you, or did you bring your maintenance cleaning tools? And what is the job that you're on? And if I'm on a maintenance clean, I don't get the luxury of like going, hey, I can take shortcuts on this deep clean thing. No, you're not here to deep clean. What are you doing? And it's situational awareness. In the time that I have with the tools that I have for the job that I'm here to do, how can I really honor this customer? And it's one of the very best questions that you will ever ask as you go to a customer's house, because you know far more about cleaning than probably the job allows. And you can probably pull so many magical things out of your toolbox to do to the customer's house. And while I wish we could do them all, oftentimes that's not what is possible. And so we want to meet expectation. We want to deliver on our promise. And here's the really spectacular thing, we want to stay on time. And because we all only have 168 hours in a week, if 40 of that is allotted to cleaning, it doesn't matter what happens next. I only have 40 hours. So all the cleaning and all the chit chat and all the travel and all that stuff has to happen in the same 40 hours. And if I have a customer right after this customer right now, I have to honor that by doing my best work here and then going to the next customer's house on time. You want to talk about a hack? Here's a hack, and I will share this with you. In the cleaning industry, that most people will not tell you, if you will stick to a time frame and you will honor the time frame and you will arrive when you say you are going to arrive. Most people work on a schedule. It's how doctors work. It's how dentists work. When you go to meet anybody of any profession, and we call ourselves professional cleaners, they have a schedule. They have appointments with you at a certain time. And if you will honor those appointments and you will show up during that appointment time and you do as much as you possibly can based on what is required and the tools that you have in your situational awareness, then you will deliver every single time a good quality product. And what we're looking at is not, am I really good today and then I kind of suck tomorrow and I'm really good another day. And, you know, my customers will figure me out and I'll kind of arrive whenever no. Don't play games with your customers. Your customers are paying a premium price for what Melissa said is like a top chef, right? They are paying a premium price. So treat your customers like clients. And so when I say I'm a professional cleaner, professionals have clients. They don't have customers. It's not a job. It's not an account. It's not a house. It's a client. I have a client. And if you will show up and treat your clients with respect and you will stay to your schedule, you will never look back. You will have more work than you will ever have in your business, and you will do very little, if no advertising at all. Because when you treat your customers that way, your customers will turn around and they will tell all their neighbors and they will tell all their friends that you can possibly reach in your zone. And you will have all the business you could possibly ever look for. So it's not a shortcut. It's not a hack, but I will share this with you. If you are professional and you deliver what is expected and you deliver it with professionalism, you will never look back.
Absolutely. Love that. And, I will tack on, just because you mentioned you see it so much as it's out there. There's nothing saying you can't at the end of the service say, hey, we did this clean. I honored what you asked for. We did this beautiful maintenance work. But I see some wonderful opportunities. I'd love to suggest that you hire me to come back next week to do a deep service on the following surfaces I noticed throughout your home. You could use a deep cleaning on the tile grout here. You could use a deep cleaning on whatever. Here, it's not part of our maintenance package, but I think you would truly enjoy the way your home looks if I restore these certain surfaces for you. Boom, leave the sheet and go ahead and make that extra money on that rather than trying to jam it in to what you're doing and going late and getting only paid for the maintenance work in the first place. So yes, to all of that.
Yes, what Melissa just said.
Give me some silly story or wild story from your cleaning industry past. It can be, oh my gosh, we saved a cat from a house on fire. Oh my gosh, we're the ones that set the house on fire. Like what, some wacky thing that happened in your cleaning business world. Keep it PG-13, that's all I ask. But any fun stories of, no kidding, there we were, and this happened at my cleaning business.
So every day is fun. I had lots of fun cleaning stories, but I've had a couple of stories that have given me pause. And when I say they've given me pause, they're things that have happened that never happened before. And anytime in your cleaning business, because this will happen, something happens that you're like, whoa, wait a second, freeze frame. I wasn't prepared for that. I don't know how to respond in this situation. This is completely new for me. I hope it never happens again. And I want to make sure that if I have employees and they ever find themselves in this situation, that we template this situation right now with a new series of standard operating procedures so that they never find themselves going through what I just went through. One of those situations was a gun was pulled on me when I was at a customer's house. And I was so freaked out because I didn't know what is supposed to happen now. And there were 2 children in the home. And I grabbed the children and we hid behind the kitchen island. And the dad was having a fight of some sort with another person. And while this was happening, I knew he's going to try to protect his kids. So if I'm with his kids, I'm probably safe. And I'm going to let these 2 adults try to manage whatever's happening between them. And I was able to get the phone and call 911. And they were able to track the call to the place where I was. But I was really outside my zone because I didn't have any personal defense training. I didn't have any weapons of my own. I didn't have any mace or pepper spray or anything with me. I did not expect I would ever find myself in that situation. Then I don't say this to scare people thinking, oh, bad things are going to happen when you go to a customer's house, because I've worked inside people's homes, perfect strangers' homes for 30 years, no problems whatsoever. There was a bad situation that happened to happen while I was in someone's home, okay? So it wasn't anything that I did or triggered. It was just I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I was able to get out of it, obviously, and the children survived. Everything survived. No one got hurt in this incident, and the police were called. And I hated calling the police on my client, okay? But there I had to make a decision. I'm in a really awkward, weird situation, and now I have to make a decision based on, is someone in danger? And the answer is yes. Our lives right now are in danger, and I'm afraid. And so by calling 911, they were able to neutralize the situation. And then later, of course, I lost the job. I wasn't going to go back anyway, but they fired me. And like I said, I wasn't going to go back anyway because bad things happen at the house. But it made me stop and say, wait a second, I'm not prepared for safety training. I need new safety training. I need to train all of my employees on new safety training. I want to make sure that when I drive, on my person, in my apron, at all times, I have pepper spray, that I'm completely prepared for what happens next. I have a couple of things that I carry with me. One goes on the back of my belt loop, and it's a little tiny loop with a little pair of little bird scissors. They've got this really long, sharp beak. And it has 2 little fingers that you can slide your fingers in, and we clip the hair off of the bottom roller of the vacuum with those little scissors. But in the event I could grab those little scissors, they just pull right off my hip, and that could become a little tiny weapon should I need to have it, right? So there are a couple of things like that you can do, but the situational awareness, it comes back to, are you aware of what's happening at all times? When you go to a house, did you go inside the house and lock the doors? Are you locked in the house so that no one else can gain access? Are you completely aware that you are the only person in the house? And when I arrive on a job, I do a quick walkthrough of the whole entire house just to make sure there's nobody sleeping in one of the rooms, nobody hiding in the closets. And it gives me a quick look through the room to see, is this room in the condition I'm expecting it when I get upstairs at an hour from now? Because if it's not, and I get up there and I'm like, whoa, it's very different, and it's going to take a whole lot more time. That's on me. I should have paid better awareness when I arrived on the job. So there are lots of situations. I could go on for days and share with you the really whoa stories. But the secret is this. When you come into a situation that you're unprepared for, don't freak out and go, oh, I don't know what to do. Of course you don't. That's part of growth. It's part of development. But don't let that ruin your business, and don't let it stop you from learning. Walk away and say, wow, that was a close call. I didn't like that at all. I don't like the way that felt. Don't ever find yourself in this situation again. Get some safety training. Go get your concealed carry if that's what you do. Make sure that from job to job, you're perfectly prepared for whatever may happen. And make sure that you train all of your employees under you that this is how we handle these types of situations. And this is the moment where you decide to get someone else involved if you have to call the authorities.
Absolutely. Beautifully stated. And, I never know where people are going to go with these stories. Some have been very light, some have been very serious. But it's an important topic. Particularly in house cleaning, the majority of house cleaners are performing as solo teams, or teams of 2. And, even in smaller companies, they may not have any sort of digital software. That person's out and about for the day, and no one knows where they are for hours. If something's going down, no one knows to check on them. It's critically important to think through the safety of our staff. And there's so much in modern technology that's available now, in terms of apps where you can, track where people are and what windows they're supposed to be at jobs. And, gee, this person's still there. Why? And training people to keep their cell phone on their person so that if they're in an emergency, it's there and available to them. They're not hiding in a closet going, wish I had my cell phone right now. So many, the Pepper Spray is a beautiful suggestion as well. But thinking through as a business, what am I doing to keep my employees safe, to train them to lock the doors, to train them to have the customers provide a key as opposed to having a key under the mat where everyone sees them lift up the mat every day, and now everyone in town knows this is where the key's hidden. There's things like that where, you have to think through that stuff. But it's so important to, like you said, most importantly, to take each experience and learn from it. Don't let it go, oh, I can't do this anymore. This is scary. Rather, okay, I'm going to make sure this doesn't happen again. And I love that mentality. Again, that level up mindset you've been preaching this whole hour, and I hope everyone takes it home. So speaking of that, we have hit the end of our hour. I could talk to you for another 2 because you're amazing, but I got to wrap this bad boy up. So I got to say thank you so much. You shared so much wisdom. I hope everyone's listening from minute 1 to minute, or actually 1:15 here. So it's been a while and it's been amazing. Thank you so much. I'm going to shamelessly plug Savvy Cleaner. Angela Brown is amazing. Please go check out her site, check out her training, follow her on all social media because she's on it all. We at Microfiber Wholesale are so grateful that you shared your time with us.
Well, thank you so much. I've enjoyed our time together today, so thank you.